Nous allons maintenant passer la parole à un homme spécial, spécial de par son parcours, parce que homme a 1000 bras, plusieurs casquettes. Today, we have the privilege to receive His Excellency Mohamed Senoussi II, économiste, leader religieux, grand humaniste, militant de la paix. Son Excellence Senoussi a été directeur de la Banque centrale du Nigeria de 2009 à 2014. Son Excellence Senoussi II a été aussi le 14e émir de Kano du clan Fulani au Nigeria. Depuis mai 2019, Son Excellence Senoussi II a été nommé par les Nations Unies champion des EDD, UN SDGs Advocate. Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Sayyidina wa nabiyina Muhammadin ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala. Let me begin by thanking ICESCO for this great honor of inviting me to speak to this wonderful audience. And let me begin also by endorsing the comments that have been made so far and aligning myself with the objectives of this workshop. The importance of youth and women in building peaceful patterns, peaceful and prosperous societies is the theme of this conference. I think the point has been made all over the world. The women's participation in post-conflict nation building has helped achieve economic and political stability. As an example, when Afghanistan expanded a public role for women in 2002, after the fall of the Taliban, with women voting and signing petitions and being advocates against corruption. Women have been known to provide a bulwark against violence and to provide security. Statistics have shown that when women are empowered, countries are less likely to go to war with their neighbors. Hence, gender equality is a better indicator of a state's peacefulness than other factors like democracy. As an example, if you look at all the countries in conflict today, 14 out of 17 countries at the bottom of the OECD index for gender discrimination experienced conflict, among them Syria, Yemen, Somalia. These conflicts have gone beyond the Middle East. We have huge conflicts in places like Nigeria, DRC, Ethiopia, and many parts of sub-Saharan Africa. It's extremely important, therefore, as we try to build peace and as we try to reconstruct post-conflict societies, that we learn from places like Northern Ireland, where the involvement of women helped build these societies. Now I'll turn to the youth because the focus today is on the youth. As a general comment, I think it's important to recognize the heterogeneity of the youthful population in the world. We've had the demographics, you have a youth bulge. We expect that, for example, in the next 2 decades, 60% of the youth in the world will be in sub-Saharan Africa, and these are conflict-prone zones. Many of them are faced with difficult economic circumstances, with a lack of employment, with frustration and a sense of political exclusion. It's important to recognize the heterogeneity of the youth. The youth differ by gender, they differ by class, they differ by levels of education, they differ by opportunities. And therefore, in dealing with youth, we need to go beyond this attitude of treating them as one category and one group. Even in conflict societies, we find the youth on various sides. In Nigeria, there are many young men who are carrying arms against the state, who are extremists and fundamentalists and bandits. You also have many young people who have set up task forces defending the population. Young people involved in welfare projects, young people involved in rehabilitation of people, taking care of women, taking care of children, social services. So the youth can be a force for good. They can also be used for evil. We need to go beyond, as Professor Osadim once said, we need to go beyond this bifurcated view of youth. We either infantilize them, we think they're too young to be part of leadership, or we think they need to have families and take care of children before they can take political responsibility, or demonize them as basically cannon fodder to be used for crime and violence. The youth are impatient, the youth are ambitious, the youth also have innovation. Unfortunately, we have built social structures that stop them from rising. In many of our countries, the government is dominated by elderly people in their 60s and 70s and beyond, especially in places like Africa. The youth are not involved in governance. Their voices are not heard. There's a sense of frustration, a sense of exclusion. So even where you do not have physical violence, we must recognize that we have built social structures where you have social violence and cultural violence. And we need to recognize that the youth are victims of that violence. It is that violence, that bottleneck, that system that stops them from realizing their full potential, not giving them education, not giving them skills, not giving them opportunities, that turns the youth into agents of instability and agents of violence. What we need to do is to conceptualize them as positive agents of change, to address the issues that bother them, take them as political actors, involve them in nonviolent politics, provide them with education and skills, focus on family backgrounds, give them training in peace building, but also for the Muslims, return them to core Islamic values. The verses of the Quran that were read this morning, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu khulu fis silmi kafa, that verse is a very clear instruction to all Muslims to enter into peace. The religion of Islam is a religion of peace, and we need to go back to the values that the religion teaches. The values of a complete freedom of faith, freedom of belief. There is no compulsion in religion. The Quran is very clear. La ikraha fi din. We are enjoined by the Quran to have peace and to make peace and to have justice and to relate very well with non-Muslims, so long as they do not persecute us, so long as they do not kill us, so long as they do not chase us from our towns. We're supposed to have peaceful coexistence with non-Muslims. Islam talks about empathy, respect for elders, and care for the youth. The whole idea of action, political action in Islam is supposed to liberate men who are oppressed and women and children from oppression. And therefore, societies that take care of the weak and the vulnerable are societies that are built in accordance with Islamic ideals. Islam is very strong in its condemnation of the illegal taking of life, illegal destruction of property, and illegal encroachment on the dignity of the human being. Islam encourages independence. It encourages everyone to stand on their feet and earn a living and take care of themselves. Now, these are values that we need to return to. And it is these values that would form a strong and resilient society, especially given what we face with COVID and with huge economic difficulties in many of our countries. So my message to all of us in this forum is the need for us to recognize that the youth are a major force for peace, but the youth also need to be helped. We need to create the proper economic environment. We need to provide them with the empowerment, with the education, with the skills, with the opportunities to participate. And we need to open up the space for them to be involved in politics, for them to be involved in the governance of society. The lack of voices, the lack of female voices in politics, and this is very prominent in the Muslim world, and in African, in Muslim majority societies. You have entire cabinets with one or two women out of maybe 40, 50 ministers. We do not have female parliamentarians. The political discourse does not discuss issues that concern women, does not discuss things like marriage, it does not discuss things like divorce, it does not discuss things like maintenance, it does not discuss things like nutrition for children. While we deal with fundamental human rights, we still have not enforced the rights of the child to education. And the uneducated child is one who grows into an uneducated young man. And an uneducated young man without opportunity is the one that potentially can be a part of the breakdown of peace. So I would like to urge the youth in this forum to think about how they can address themselves to being advocates of a new discourse that recognizes the youth as active political agents in non-violent politics. And just through the participation in the political process that you can bring new ideas, 21st century ideas. We're going into the fourth industrial revolution. You're going into a digital economy. To be honest, many of those who are ruling our countries are dinosaurs. When you look at the state of technology today, it's you in this room who holds the key to the future. How do you begin to play that role? How do you begin to open up the political space? How do you begin to open up society? And how do you move the Muslim world into the 21st century, a world in which we respect each other, we respect the rights of everyone to have their own beliefs, so long as they do not encroach on the beliefs of others, a world in which we understand that collaboration in worldly affairs is absolutely necessary for improvement in the welfare of people and lay the foundation for modern economies. I would like to congratulate ICESCO for arranging this. I would like to congratulate the members for being part of it. I would like to wish all of you successful deliberation. And I thank you again for inviting me to make these remarks to this wonderful audience. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.